I'm Mark Herring, candidate for Attorney General, and I sponsored this ad.
Tonight, several developing stories as we come on the air. The bombshell decision, Army Sergeant Bowe Bergdahl learning his fate. After deserting his post, the blinding sun after 5 years, most of it in a cage held by the Taliban. Tonight, President Trump blasting the judge's ruling. Under fire, Attorney General Jeff Sessions. How did he forget what was allegedly said in this meeting about the Russians, then candidate Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin? And tonight, President Trump wants his AG to go after Hillary Clinton after a new book, Was the Primary Rigged? On high alert, what New York's governor just revealed about the New York City Marathon after the deadly truck attack here and the phone call the suspect made right before the attack. Diane Sawyer and the Marine father who says ISIS found a way into his home here in the U.S. and got to his son, but not before it turned deadly. And just in, the NYPD tonight saying it has enough evidence to arrest Harvey Weinstein.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to round out another week with you, and we begin with several fast-moving stories tonight. First, that bombshell decision today from a military judge at Fort Bragg, and President Trump's fierce response. The judge giving Sergeant Bowe Bergdahl no prison time after deserting his post in Afghanistan and then endangering his comrades who went out to find him. President Trump calling the sentencing a complete and total disgrace. ABC's chief global affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz leading us off.
The images of Bowe Bergdahl's release are searing. After 5 years of brutal confinement in exchange for 5 Taliban prisoners, Bergdahl emerged haunted, hollow, blinking back the sunlight of which he had seen so little before being whisked away. In his first television interview with British filmmaker Sean Langan, Bergdahl said he had been tortured and caged after repeatedly trying to escape.
It's a cage that was welded together. It's about 7 foot long by about 6 foot wide.
But for some, any sympathy for Bergdahl quickly evaporated when stories of those wounded while trying to find the deserter emerged. Sergeant Mark Allen was shot in the head during a search mission. No longer able to walk or talk, his wife tearfully testified about her husband's inability to reach out to her. Navy SEAL Jimmy Hatch had his leg ripped apart by a bullet.
I was laying there. Initially, I thought, man, I'm dead because I'm so close and I can't move.
But no one was more critical of Bergdahl than then candidate Donald Trump.
He's a traitor, a no-good traitor, who should have been executed.
And after today's verdict, those feelings emerged once again. President Trump calling the court decision a complete and total disgrace to our country and to our military. Ironically, Trump may have had something to do with the decision not to jail Bergdahl, the military judge saying he had found Trump's comments disturbing and might make them a mitigating factor in his sentencing decision.
So let's get right live to Martha Raddatz in Washington tonight. And Martha, we saw the pictures today of Bergdahl, and he's still in his Army uniform.
He is, David, but he will be dishonorably discharged, although his attorneys are appealing that because they say he will miss out on veterans' health benefits they say he badly needs. David.
Martha Raddatz leading us off on a Friday night. Martha, thank you. Meantime, tonight, Attorney General Jeff Sessions under fire this evening, facing new questions about what he said under oath about his time on the Trump campaign and any discussion involving the Russians. Some asking, how did Sessions forget what was discussed at this meeting with the campaign advisor who has now pleaded guilty and is cooperating with special counsel Robert Mueller? ABC's chief investigative correspondent Brian Ross tonight.
The Attorney General of the United States, Jeff Sessions, is being accused tonight of hiding the truth.
He either has a terrible memory or he deliberately was not telling me the truth.
All based on new information about what happened at this Trump campaign meeting chaired by then-Senator Sessions. According to court filings this week, Foreign Policy Advisor George Papadopoulos, seated between Sessions and Donald Trump, told the group he had connections with Russia that could help arrange a meeting between Trump and Vladimir Putin. Yet Sessions twice testified no one in the campaign was involved with Russia. First, in January.
Senator Franken, I'm not aware of any of those activities.
And then again last month.
I don't believe they occurred.
An aide to Sessions disputes the Papadopoulos account, But another person at the meeting, J.D. Gordon, a campaign aide, recalls Sessions being part of a discussion about the Papadopoulos proposal and shooting it down.
It's part of a pattern, but every time it just seems to get worse and worse and worse.
Adding to the questions about Sessions' truthfulness is another former campaign advisor, Carter Page. He tells ABC News he informed Sessions during the campaign, in passing he says, of a trip he was about to take to Moscow, a trip he described to us earlier this year.
And they saw great potential for the future. You know, I'd been
If Donald Trump was elected?
Yes, yes.
As for the president, he too has denied again and again anyone in his campaign was involved with Russia.
No, nobody that I know of. Nobody
so you're not aware of any contacts during the course of the election?
How many times do I have to answer this question?
Just 9 days ago, the president touted his memory.
One of the great memories of all time.
But asked today about that campaign meeting last year with Papadopoulos and Sessions, he said this.
I don't remember much about that meeting. It was a very unimportant meeting, took place a long time. Don't remember much about it.
And before he left for Asia, the president took his own swipe at Attorney General Sessions, asked if he might fire him for not investigating the Democrats.
They should be looking at a lot of things, and a lot of people are disappointed in the Justice Department, including me.
Brian Ross with us here tonight. And to keep things straight for our viewers at home, we know that Jeff Sessions met twice with the Russian ambassador during the campaign. After initially denying any contact with the Russians, he later amended this testimony, acknowledging he did. But Brian, these are new questions about a second meeting during which the Russians were discussed, even the idea of meeting between then candidate Trump and Vladimir Putin, a meeting the Justice Department says that Sessions turned down. But if he did turn it down, how did he not remember turning it down?
Well, that is the question, David. And today, Senator Franken told me he wants Sessions to come back to Congress once again to answer a slew of new questions, saying it's time for the Attorney General now to speak with a clear and consistent voice once and for all.
You heard the president say he's unhappy at the Justice Department. Brian, thank you. But this question tonight, President Trump is now urging his AG to go after his former rival Hillary Clinton after a new book written by the one-time chair of the Democratic Party. This is the question. Did Clinton cut a deal with the DNC? Tonight, the president says it is proof the primary was rigged. ABC's Mary Bruce with a reality check.
Tonight, the president says the real story the Justice Department should be looking at involves his former rival.
You ought to look at Hillary Clinton, and you ought to look at the new book that was just put out by Donna Brazile, where she basically bought the DNC and she stole the election from Bernie. So that's what you ought to take a look at.
In her new book, Donna Brazile, the former chair of the DNC, writes of a fundraising deal Clinton's team struck with the DNC to help pay off the party's lingering debt. Brazile writing in exchange for raising money and investing in the DNC, Hillary would control the party's finances, strategy, and all of the money raised, adding she had exerted this control of the party long before she became its nominee. But what did Clinton get from the DNC? Clinton has said the party was broke.
I mean, it was bankrupt. It was on the verge of insolvency. Its data was mediocre to poor, non-existent, wrong.
Senator Elizabeth Warren, who in the end was right by Clinton's side, was asked if this is proof the Democratic primary was rigged.
Yes.
President Trump pounced, calling Warren a name and saying Warren just stated the Democrats rigged the primaries. Let's go, FBI and Justice Department. And now Warren is pushing back at the president, tweeting, "I understand your desperation to change the subject, Donald Trump. Your campaign manager was just indicted for conspiracy against the U.S." And even the author of this new book about the DNC, Donna Brazile, is now accusing the president of changing her words. Tweeting, "Trump says I said DNC rigged the system. First of all, I don't speak in caps. Not what I said."
So let's get to Mary Bruce live at the White House tonight. Mary, bottom line here, is this illegal?
David, while many may call this unethical, this fundraising deal was not illegal. And tonight, Republican Senator Bob Corker says the president's calls for the FBI and Justice Department to investigate this are, quote, totally inappropriate and not only undermine our justice system, but erode the American people's confidence in our institutions. David.
Senator Corker, who's been at odds with the president for some time now. Mary, thank you. We turn next here to New York City on high alert tonight. What the governor revealed just a short time ago after the deadly truck attack. And the NYPD reporting on the marathon this Sunday now, saying they, quote, remain concerned about international terrorists and domestic extremists potentially targeting the event. And this evening, what we're now learning about the phone call the suspect made right before the attack. Again tonight, ABC's Gio Benitez.
Tonight, authorities tracking down Saifullah Saipov's last known contact. ABC News learning investigators have now spoken with that man Saipov called moments before the rampage. Investigators not revealing what he told them, and now tracking others Saipov had contact with.
We're going through every possibility.
This as we learn authorities in Uzbekistan have interrogated Saipov's entire family. In an interview with his sister, she says investigators are still holding his father and uncle for questioning. Saipov's mother passing out in shock after hearing what her son had done. His sister begging President Trump not to sentence her brother to death, saying someone poisoned his mind. Tonight, with the famed New York City Marathon nearing, officials saying there's no specific threat, but remain concerned about international terrorists and domestic extremists potentially targeting the event. The governor's office announcing enhanced security after this week's attack.
We've also increased the number of observation teams and counter sniper teams. There will be a substantial number of heavy weapons teams.
This city on heightened alert. Gio with us live tonight from the scene of the deadly truck attack, and authorities have increased security measures on that heavily traveled bike path as well.
That's right, David. They've already installed these concrete barriers, hoping to prevent another attack. David.
But so many of the cyclists and the pedestrians have returned in a sign of strength. Gio, thank you. In the meantime tonight, as authorities investigate the suspect in the truck attack, his pledge to ISIS. This evening, a stunning look at ISIS in America right now. Diane Sawyer and the Marine father discovering his own son in his own home had been lured in by ISIS, but not before it turned deadly for one of their neighbors.
This is your son?
Yes.
A desperate father calls 911 about his son.
I need somebody as quick as possible.
We have units en route to you. Stay on the line with me, okay?
I don't know if it's ISIS or what.
You can hear that son in the background.
You're going to throw me in jail my whole life and kill me. Why are you trying to stand a terrorist?
A terrorist? Justin Sullivan grew up as a boy in a Catholic home with trophies, friends, a bedroom filled with childhood toys. His dad, a retired Marine captain, Rich Sullivan.
I imagined him joining the military. And following my footsteps.
But his high school reported to the parents that Justin had violent fantasies in his writing and suspended him. They said he needed serious help. The parents had no idea that their 18-year-old son, alone with his computer, had reached out to ISIS recruiters. In less than 24 hours, a top captain of ISIS responded, 6,184 miles away. Welcome, brother. Blessings upon you. Justin is lonely. ISIS can fix that. And then another key step, tap into the fantasies. We know Justin loves the video game Call of Duty. If Justin takes violent action, they will make him a hero, a celebrity. Justin Sullivan puts on a ski mask and murders a neighbor with his father's rifle, which he hides. Police find the neighbor's body but have no suspect. And then in a few months, he tells his ISIS recruiter he's ready to go big. He's going to get an assault rifle and slaughter people at a concert in North Carolina or at a club. But as the clock is ticking down, his parents discover a package containing a gun silencer.
I called the police department. I said, I need to talk to somebody in Homeland Security.
Tonight, a father from North Carolina has a warning for parents.
Here I am defending our country against domestic enemies, which so happened to be my son.
Diane Sawyer investigating, and this is chilling. Her 1-hour special, ISIS in America, is tonight. What authorities are following in this country right now and how ISIS is recruiting here in the U.S. That's tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern. We hope you watch Diane tonight at 10. In the meantime, there's still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Friday. Breaking developments, the NYPD now saying it has enough evidence to arrest Harvey Weinstein, what they've revealed. Also, 6 firefighters kicked off the job, the disturbing discovery inside the firehouse involving a colleague that got them fired. The alleged carjacker, just 13 years old, chased by police. His victim in the vehicle, 67 years old. She called 911. And that Twitter image seen by millions, President Trump's Twitter page suddenly going dark. How does Twitter explain this tonight?
If you're 65 or older, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia that can take you out of the game for weeks, even if you're healthy.